Innovation is advancing quicker than ever, with notable novel thoughts being investigated consistently. From drifting homesteads to edge processing. Here are the 5 most inconceivable arising innovations. Number 5. Spinlaunch. There's been a great deal of concentration in later years on confidential space organizations and their mission to foster vehicles that can bring paying clients into space. Yet the truth is that, particularly with the contamination that customary space flight makes, these advances won't make a distinction to individuals other than very rich people for a long while. There is anyway a less popular organization that is taking tremendous steps at making space advancements far less expensive, greener, furthermore, more straightforward to get to. It's simply that their attention is on satellites and not on human travel. Known as Twist Sendoff, the idea is very basic in spite of the fact that it is, of course, incredibly muddled to place into practice. Established in 2014 and subsidized by enormous organizations like Airbus and Google, they are building a motor energy send-off framework to embed satellites into space rather than depending on substance rockets. To do this, they have planned a vacuum fixed axis that will turn objects around prior to delivering them into space at velocities of up to 5,000 miles each hour. Furthermore, when they arrive at a suborbital level, a customary rocket supporter can take over. This idea altogether decreases the measure of fuel that should be scorched. Also, to make it stunningly better, all of the energy used to control the axis is gotten from green sources. For example, sun-powered, also wind. The organization has even demonstrated that most customary satellite parts are ready to endure the 10,000 Gs that they'll be exposed to during a send-off. Furthermore, even activities that it will cost less than a portion of $1 million to send one into space instead of the many millions it right now does. With the test variant previously fabricated and directing send-offs, they trust the standard size gadget will be prepared inside a not many years. This could forever alter satellite send-offs. Number 4. Graphene. Industry is ceaselessly searching for new materials to offer more grounded from there. The sky is the limit, dependable execution. But the following game-changing improvement is supposed to be graphene. A substance has for some time been hypothesized to exist, however has shown to be so muddled to make that it's taken up to this point to become possible. As the name would recommend, it is determined from graphite, which is the material you'll be know all about that is utilized in pencils. Made altogether from carbon iotas, graphite is a 3-layered structure, yet the interesting thing about graphene is that it's 2-layered. This means the carbon is organized totally in a hexagonal honeycomb arrangement that is just 0.3 nanometers thick, and there's simply 0.1 nanometers between every one of the iotas. By this new plan offers immense advantages that are just barely beginning to be completely perceived. Graphene can lead power undeniably more proficiently than copper, for instance. It's likewise multiple times more grounded than steel, however multiple times lighter. It's totally straightforward on the grounds that it just retains 2 gases, even the lightest ones. And it can additionally have synthetic parts added to the surface to change its properties. Specialists see graphene more as a stage that engineers will actually want to organize such that plays to their needs. It could, for instance, alter contact screen innovations, be integrated to make lighter composite materials, and has various purposes and hardware as well. The conceivable outcomes are genuinely huge, and it's supposed to be feasible to create it in business amounts inside the 1 decade from now. Number 3. GPS 3. Initially starting in 1973 and finished in 1993, the American GPS Satellite Organization was the main worldwide route framework. Also reformed the way that everybody figures out where they are on the planet. At first the advantages were imagined for militaries, but the innovation has now affected each of our lives. From the manner in which certain hardware works to satnav frameworks and area-based. Following. The issue with GPS, however, is that the first 24 satellites, along with additional ones that were therefore added, don't give an ideal goal. What's more, are simply exact to inside a couple feet. They additionally don't give full inclusion all over the planet, as any individual who has attempted to utilize area following in precipitous regions or thick metropolitan conditions will be aware, and the signs are very easy to impede, which is a steady danger for military use. There is in this manner immense interest for working on the framework, and the innovation has previously been created, known as GPS-3 and worked by Lockheed Martin. The satellites are as of now being sent off and are supposed to completely have redesigned the organization inside a couple of years. At the point when the undertaking is finished, the signs will be definitely more exact than now and multiple times more grounded, so they can't be impeded, bringing about better well-being, signal respectability, and far more noteworthy exactness. Number 2. Floating farms. As the total populace proceeds to grow, quite possibly of the most serious issue we face, incredibly unexpected 30% of the farming and 33% of that is utilized for crops, and the excess 66% is utilized for brushing domesticated animals. Furthermore, this not just limits the expected regions for inhabitation, yet likewise empowers huge scope deforestation and natural surroundings change to options. In contrast to this, and keeping in mind that you may have known about vertical ranches that look to work on the yield for a similar size plot of land, others are taking a gander at far more extreme arrangements. One is drifting homesteads, which can include building colossal edifices that sit on the outer layer of the sea, can be moved to where they're required and significantly are impermanent. They utilize regions that wouldn't be utilized for anything more and transform it into a productive item. Extraordinarily, one of these has proactively been in activity for quite a long time in the port of Rotterdam in the Netherlands, where an organization called Belladon has fabricated a drifting stage intended to ranch 40 dream Rhino cows that are all drained by robots. By creating the item as near the end purchasers as conceivable, they're decreasing vehicle costs too. They moreover plan to have the option to introduce drifting ranches in locales that have experienced fiascos to get food creation up and running far speedier than would some way or another be conceivable. Number 1. Edge computing. The manner in which we use PCs has changed altogether in the beyond couple of many years. Thus has how innovation is intended to give us the best help. At first, everything was finished on a solitary gadget in our homes. And presently, we essentially use distributed computing, by which most exercises from our messages to records, also practically all the other things, is held on the web, and our gadgets are basically windows that award us admittance to this. The issue with distributed computing anyway is that most organizations depend on the foundation of only a couple of cloud suppliers: Amazon, Microsoft, Google, and IBM. With Amazon alone representing 47% of the market. Basically, all that can be moved on to the cloud has essentially been finished so as of now, and there's very others have been taking a gander at the purported edge of the cloud. What this truly implies is that they're investigating ways of bringing the handling. Furthermore, capacity of the cloud topographically closer to where the client is to work on the experience, as opposed to simply depending on a couple of information focuses. It will see more work done locally, and the thought is that this will altogether lessen idleness, will likewise further develop protection and security, and will assist with lessening the data transmission being utilized, so the framework doesn't clasp under the tension of expanded utilization. In numerous ways, it might appear as though it's backpedaling on cloud, figuring, however, it's truly outfitting it to more full impact if unique finger impression or facial approval is managed straight by your cell phone instead of trusting that a server will answer. You'll be midway controlled, so its calculations can be moved along.